aloud, which means I'm going to be reading a story and you guys are going to have the opportunity to listen. And on your side of the computer, you're going to be able to make predictions. You're going to be able to look at our main character and see how they develop. You are going to look for the problem in the story and the solution as well. Those are all things we're going to be talking about as we read our story today. But I want you to get involved on your side, and even though I can't hear you, I want you guys to say your predictions in complete sentences on the other side and really get involved in this story. So today's story is Hooway for Wodney Wat. And you might think, Miss Chavez, that sounds really funny when you're saying that. But that's the name of our story, and so we're kind of going to figure out, because if I just hear that title, it doesn't sound like real words. Hooway for Wodney Wat. It kind of sounds like I'm purposely talking funny. So we're gonna read to find out more. Poor Wodney Wat. His real name was Wodney Rat, but he couldn't pronounce his R's. To make matters worse, he was a rodent. A wodent. So that makes sense why our title sounded so funny. This character, Rodney, can't pronounce his R's. So when he says his name, he says it Wodney. And he's also a rat, so he can't say the R either, so he says Wat. So Wodney Wat. What's your name, Wodney? Asked the other rodents. Wodney Wat, whispered Wodney. What's another name for bunny? They asked knowingly. Wabbit, he mumbled. And how does a train travel? They winked at each other. A twain travels on twain tracks, Wodney replied miserably. Now, look at what the other rodents or rats are doing to Rodney. They are purposely making fun of the fact that he can't say his R's, and they're making him, give answers that show that he can't say his R's. And that's just being really mean of them. They are purposely picking on Rodney. And if you look at the illustrations in the story, you can see how sad Rodney is. His head is down, and it almost looks like he's crying in this picture. And I don't know how many of you can connect this or make a text connection right now. If you've ever been in a position where people or friends have made fun of you for something that you struggle with. And that might be a good time to reflect on it right now if you have felt that way before. All of this teasing in a day and day out, Wodney was the shyest rodent in his elementary school. His squeak could barely be heard in class, and he ate lunch alone. Look at how sad that is. I can't even imagine feeling so left out that you have to eat alone. And while the other rodents scurried and scooted about at recess, Wodney hid inside his jacket. And maybe some of you might be able to make a text connection to this. Maybe you were new at a school before, and recess was a scary time, or lunch, because everyone was talking and getting along and had their friends, and you just felt very alone. And in Rodney's case, he was being bullied, and they were purposely making fun of him, so he just felt so alone. That makes me so sad. Then, one day, as the rodents were taking turns doing wheelies, a new rodent, a very large rodent, barged into the classroom and announced, "My name is Camila Capybara. I'm bigger than any of you, I'm meaner than any of you, and I'm smarter than any of you. There," she added, "so there." Oh wow, our new character, Camila, seems really mean. And she's a lot larger than the other rodents, and I wonder what's gonna happen. And so now is a good time to stop, because remember, good readers stop and think about what they're reading and want to see what's coming next. So now would be a good time to turn to our sentence frame. Whoop, Miss Chavez dropped her marker. Let me get that. Now would be a good time to go to our sentence frame and to make a prediction. So you guys are gonna practice using the sentence frame, I predict that, and you're gonna say it on your side of the computer. So I'm gonna give you a chance. I want you to just predict and think about what is going to happen next. Remember, there are no wrong answers in a prediction. I just want you to use the clues that you've heard in the story so far, any of the details, and make a prediction. So ready? I predict that. I hope you guys made your prediction. So Miss Chavez will go ahead and make a prediction to show you how my thinking is going. I predict that Camila is going to come in and be mean to all of the rodents, including Wodney. So I think she is going to be the bad guy in the story. Even though all the other rodents have been pretty mean so far, I think just what it makes it seem like on the first page that she's not going to be a very nice rodent. So let's see if our predictions are correct. With that, she accidentally, on purpose, elbowed an ear, bumped 2 noses, stepped on 3 tails, and lay down on a desk. Fur prickled in fear throughout the classroom. She was bigger than all of them. She looked meaner than all of them. But was she smarter than all of them? And look at her, she gets right in their faces, and she's even being mean to poor Wodney. It looks like she's being mean to all of them, but our new character, Camila, does not seem like a very nice person. Or a rodent, I guess she's not a person, she's a rodent. What's 2 + 2? Asked Miss Fuzzleworth. 4, shouted Camila Capybara without even bothering to raise her paw. And furthermore, 4 + 4 is 8, 8 + 8 is 16, and 243 + 125 is 368. Later, when Miss Fuzzleworth asked, what's the capital of? Camila interrupted. New York, Albany, population 295,594. And during science, in answer to the question, what part of a plant is below the ground? Camila Capybara danced on her desk and sang, root, root, rooty toot toot toot. Yep, thought all the other rodents. She's smarter than all of us. They felt very uncomfortable. Now that word uncomfortable, that's a word that you probably have heard before. Uncomfortable is a feeling that you may feel in new situations or in situations where you don't know a lot of people. When you feel uncomfortable, you feel nervous, you feel a little bit scared, you don't know what's going to happen maybe. So a good example is when I feel uncomfortable is if I go up to a place that I've never been before. For example, if I go to a new restaurant, I might feel a little uncomfortable because I don't know what to expect. I don't really know what to order. I don't know my way around, so I might feel a little uncomfortable. So the other rodents are feeling uncomfortable because this new rodent came in. She's smarter, she's meaner than all of them, and she's bigger, and they just kind of feel uneasy. They don't know what's gonna happen next. They don't know what to expect. Every afternoon, just before the final recess, Miss Fuzzleworth drew a name from her hat to see who would be the leader for their favorite game. Simon Says. She scrunched her eyes closed and jiggled the hat. Would it be Hairy Hamster, Minnie Feet Mouse, Grizzly Frizz Guinea Pig? Could it be big, mean, smart Camila Capybara? Miss Fuzzleworth's paw reached in and pulled out the name of Wodney Wat. The bell rang, and there was a wild scurry for the door, and Camila Capybara was the first on the playground, having trampled the others in her path. Oh my goodness, that kind of reminds me, I'm making a text connection right now, of when you guys line up to go out to recess or lunch, and it makes me think of how awesome your guys' line is, because you would never do this. You guys all hear the doorbell, you walk to your spots, and you guys have never pushed or shoved each other. And I thought about this the first time I saw the story, and I go, oh, my class would never do that. So you guys are awesome at lining up and waiting your turn in line. To Wodney, she looked especially scary. What would she do? when she heard him speak? Breathe. Capybara, breathe in his face? Or would she tie him up with his tail? Or even pounce on him? So this is what's going on in Wodney's head. Poor thing is so afraid right now. He is like, what is she gonna do to me? When she hears me talk, I can't pronounce my R's, and oh, he's just, poor thing is feeling really scared right now. And so, remember, before we start reading, Wodney got chosen as the leader for Simon Says. And that's a game that many of you know how to play. And so Wodney is going to have to give his classmates directions, and they have to follow them in order to continue winning in the game. So right now, before reading anymore, I want you to make another prediction. So Wodney is it for Simon Says. So I want you to predict what's going to happen. Is Camila gonna get upset? Do you think that they're all gonna start making fun of Wodney now? What do you think is going to happen? And I'm going to have you stop right now and make a prediction. So think about that and use your sentence frame. Ready? I predict that awesome. I hope you gave your prediction. Miss Chavez is not going to give a prediction for this one because I don't want to give away the story. And I already know what's going to happen. So I hope you guys made your prediction. And remember, good readers always stop and make those predictions. The tiny, trembling leader of the game stood before the eager players. His head was inside his jacket and squeaked, Wodney says, read the sign. While the other rodents read, PS 142, Elementary School for Rodents. Camila began pulling all the weeds up around the signs. The other rodents began to smile. So this is pretty interesting, guys. I don't know if you can already tell what's happening, but remember how the story started, where Wodney cannot pronounce his R's. So when he is saying, read the sign, his classmates know he just wants us to read the sign. They know that Wodney can't pronounce his R's, but they know what he's trying to say. Whereas Camila is new. So she heard, weed the sign. She's picking all of the weeds out in front of the sign. And so all the classmates are kind of like, you're not doing it right. So we'll see what's gonna happen next. Wodney says, wrap your paws around your head. He peeked a little out of his jacket and saw whap, whap, slappity slap, whap. Camila became dizzy, giving herself a headache, and had to sit down. The other rodents couldn't help but giggle. So she heard whap, whap, whap. Wodney was trying to say, wrap your hands around your head. This is getting interesting. So for being the big, mean character that came in the story, it almost looks like our other rodents are starting to kind of make fun of her, I don't know, or start to join Wodney's side. I don't really know what's going through your guys' head right now, but what are you guys thinking? I don't know, this story's getting interesting. It doesn't end how I thought it would end. Wodney says, wing around the wosy. Camila put out her arms like a wing and made airplane noises. But where was the wosy? What was a wosy? So she's winging around the wosy while the rest of them are playing the game Ring Around the Rosie. So I'm seeing a pattern happen. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. That every time Wodney gives a new direction for Simon Says, all the other rodents are able to understand him despite him not being able to say his R's. But Camila is not. By now, Wodney's voice was stronger and his head was entirely out of his jacket. Wake the leaves. Nobody moved. Wodney says, wake the leaves. While Harry, Mini Feet, and Grizzly Feet and the others buried themselves raking, Camilla Capybara grabbed one leaf. "Wake up!" she yelled. It's getting kind of funny now. She snatched another leaf. "Come on, wake up, you! Up, up, up!" And another, "Rise and shine!" And another. By now, all the other rodents were squealing with laughter, all but Camilla, who frowned. "Stupid leaves! They won't wake up! And why was everyone laughing at her? Such bullies!" So now, nobody is laughing at Rodney. They're all now not being so nice to Camilla, but she doesn't like it when the other rodents are not kind to her, but she was really mean to them in the beginning. In a voice so strong he had to hold his own ears, Wodney called, "Wodney says, go west." The rodents collapsed in happy heap for a rest. Go west. Camilla Capybara, feeling very smart, she could tell directions by the sun, and she said, "All right, I shall go west." And then she added, "So there." She stomped forever, and she was gone. Oh my goodness. And from that day on, the pupils of PS 142 Elementary School for Rodents never teased Wodney Wat again. He was their hero. "Hooway for Wodney Wat," they cried. "Woot woot, wooty toot toot." So I'm happy this story had a happy ending. I was really sad the way it started, how they were being so mean to Rodney, and now I'm getting all my R's and W's mixed up. But it was really nice how they all came together and Rodney became their hero. And they saw that, the thing that they were making fun of him in the beginning of the story for was really what helped get that new person in their class, the class bully, kind of made her understand, that, maybe I should be nicer to all of them, because she started to realize they're being bullied. They're not being very nice to me. She didn't like how it felt. So Rodney became the hero. So what he was getting made fun of and what was so hard for him to go to school for in the first place ended up being the reason that his classmates saw him as a hero. So I don't want you guys to get discouraged. If you have something that maybe you don't feel great about and something that maybe makes you a little insecure, because you are unique and you are special, and that's what makes you you. Okay? So don't let anyone change you for that. So I hope you liked that story. We need to add our problem and solution to the board. We did a great job making our predictions. I hope you guys were making those on the other side. And let's just reflect on what our problem of this story is. So we, went through the whole story, and what is the one problem of this story that we saw? And I would say, based on, how the story started and how the story ended, was Rodney could not say his R's, and he was getting made fun of for it. So we'll just say, I'm so sorry, you guys, my bar stool. So we'll say Rodney Rat was, and we always want to answer these in complete sentences. I'm going to move this. Rodney Rat was being picked on. Picked on means made fun of. It's another word. Picked on for the way he talked. So that was the main problem that I saw throughout the story. Another problem maybe that you saw was that Camilla came into the story. That could definitely be a problem. I just think this is our main problem because it is how our story got resolved. And so now that moves us on to our solution. So solution is how the problem got fixed. How did the story end? Well, Rodney ended up being our hero because the way he spoke and his speech, he was able to get rid of Camilla. So Rodney was the hero because he was able to get rid of Camila. And to be more specific, if we were really doing a writing prompt, he got rid of her by the way he spoke. And that was actually a problem of the story, and it's interesting that our problem ended up helping our solution. So hope you guys liked this story, and I have so many more stories that I'd love to read and so many more ideas for lessons, but I hope you guys like this.